Hey folks, it's been a little while. Not much has been happening for me. I've mostly just been sort of kicking back and relaxing. Haven't been feeling the groove to make YouTube videos for a little while. That seems to have been a common theme over the last couple of years, but I'm getting motivated again because we have a fun project that I've never made a video of before. As you can see, we're in my kitchen. My wood grain filled 70s kitchen, complete with like a 30-year-old stove and a 30-year-old dishwasher and stuff. And you see this empty wall plate with the Bell logo on it from years ago. Well, this is my apartment's phone wiring. And what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up. And the reason that I wanted to hook it up is because I got a very era-appropriate phone for this place. Just look at it next to this wood. It fits right in. How 70s is your phone? Not as 70s as this. Weave, man. Weave. This is a Western Electric telephone from around 1977 or so. And this is sort of what made me want to get this project started. Here's the information on the back. It's Western Electric. It's got a serial number. These stickers have been sort of faded away. But it is. I can tell you that this is a part of the design line of phones that Western Electric put out, which I think you could buy in a store. They were some of the first you could buy in a store, if I remember correctly. It uses a bell ringer, as you can see with this little knob, or not knob, but a little tab here. And it uses this little thing that goes up and down so that it can fit into one of these wall plates. And of course it has the two hangers there which fit right in. And you can still buy wall plates like this type that have the little pegs on the top and the bottom. You can still buy those. But this one appears to be original to the apartment, 70s, because it has the Bell logo on it. So what I want to do, hopefully, is get the wiring in this apartment started, working again. And instead of hooking it up to a traditional POTS line, which costs way more than it should, what I'm going to do is use an ATA device, hook it up to a pay-as-you-go VoIP service, and use that. And how I came to that conclusion was from help from the Maritime girl. Thanks, Flo. You gave me some great advice on not only the type of VoIP device to buy, but also the VoIP service. So I'm basically taking her suggestions, and I'm going to hopefully get the wiring in this place working with that VoIP service, so I'll be able to slam the phone down when I'm angry. Yeah! So, thanks to her suggestions, this is going to happen. And the main goal of this is this phone to actually work in my kitchen here. Doesn't that just look much better in this kitchen? It looks so much better than that empty wall plate. And what I'm hoping is when you pick up this phone, that it'll actually work. And you can just... Now this phone I bought untested, so so that phone's broken. I guess we can make a video fixing that, if I can even get it working again. So, yeah, there's that. If not, I have some other phones I can test the wiring with, so we're not all hope is lost. Home phone here is almost a novelty anymore. I just use the hell out of my mobile phone for everything like most people do. But at the same time, I'd like to have a home phone with working 911, and that's what this VoIP service is going to give me. And not only that, I get to do fun stuff and use the old phones. So anyway, let me show you what needs to be done, and we'll get started. Okay, so what I've done so far is I've wired a new phone cable. It's kind of in a mess on the floor, but that's okay right now. I disconnected the existing wiring. Was hoping to use the wiring that was there, but whatever. Bought some phone cables and got this thing hooked up, and I have good news. I managed to find a VoIP box that I used to use with Google Voice, made by Obahai. And it not only does it ring this telephone and this telephone, but it works. It works now. I don't know what I did to fix it, but it doesn't hang up whenever you call now. So I could legitimately use this until I get the Grandstream box with much better service, with 911 that actually works and things like that. So, I think we should give this a demonstration. I'll show you the setup. So, you have this phone cable that goes behind here, and it bunches up, goes all over the floor, back to this box here. This little Google Voice Oberhi box. And I used to use this for home phone in my apartment for years until it started giving me some problems. But now I managed to get it to work, and it rings my old phones, which is amazing. I never expected that it would. There was no information online that I could find about it doing so, so sometimes you just have to try it for yourself. I managed to find this just buried in my closet somewhere, and I initially was planning on just using it to generate a dial tone to test if the phones worked. But even better, I can actually use it as a legitimate Google Voice VoIP box. So I'll show you a few phones ringing on it. How about we have a little montage of that? Okay, so I have 3 phones to demonstrate. I've got, of course, the pièce de résistance, my old phone here, and this old AT&T phone I've had forever. AT&T. Let's see if I can speak correctly today. That I've had forever. This thing sounds like such a classic office phone. This is your classic 70s house phone, and this is just a loud phone in general. So, first we'll start off with the, of course, the phone that I'm going to use up here. I have it wired in and everything. Here it goes. That just sounds like an office phone to me for some reason. Oh, look at that. I actually got a little bit of a display on it there. This thing needs batteries to work properly. But yeah, the phone line works great. But of course, the phone that I'll be using is this one. And it works, which I'm very happy to report. So this means for the time being, I can use the Google Voice number to dial out and make calls. So very, very happy about that. Yeah, so the proof of concept worked with a different box. Now, I could just continue to use Google Voice for free, but I do not get 911 without paying for a separate service, which might not even be active anymore with the Oberhi stuff. I'm really not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work, but it's good as a temporary solution. I suspect that after a while it'll do that hang up on whoever calls me crap again, but for now it's fine. It works fine for now. So that's just a proof of concept for now, and later on I'll set up the real thing. Okay, so I traced out the wiring here. You see this wire that I pulled out? I originally thought it went back there into the bedroom. I was wrong. I was stupid, and if you follow it down, it goes underneath this gold piece, which separates this linoleum from the carpet, and it comes out there. So now I know exactly where this is. Sorry about the splotchy floor, but it's been like that. So it comes out there, and it goes behind where the TV is. So behind this cube shelf and where the TV and all my game consoles and stuff are, by the floor there's a junction box that's very similar to the one that's below the phone in the kitchen that I had really wondered about for a while, and I think that is where the phone service came in. I think they rewired that at some point. Now, I'm not sure why they put the junction box there. Maybe this place has had VoIP service before in the past through like Comcast or another cable provider or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but that's the way in, is behind there. So what I can do is I can put my ATA box back there, and I don't have to do my own wiring. The wiring is already there. So that is fantastic news. So I'll probably temporarily do that with my little Google ATA box until my Grandstream arrives, and I can do it the proper way with proper VoIP service. But I just wanted to update you on that I'm an idiot and I figured out my wiring. You can tell I'm new at this. I haven't done a whole lot of phone stuff before, so bear with my stupidity and my ignorance while I figure it out as we go along. Okay, so I figured out the wiring. It does come behind here. Comes to another one of those junction boxes. So I plugged my little ATA into this switch there, which is connected to my internet, and of course a brand new cable, which is too long, that I've connected to the junction box. So this is my temporary solution. This is an ATA I've had kicking around. I'd like to replace this with the Grandstream and get real VoIP service, but honestly, this is serving its purpose just fine right now. So this thing's working, and I'll prove it. It's kind of proof positive by the lights there, but I'll show you. So as you can see, I've unplugged that other wire, and I've plugged the wiring that came with the apartment back in. And what I'm going to do is call this number, and it will ring. There you go. It works. So that's sort of my temporary solution. I'm still waiting on that brown cord to arrive. USPS has been absolutely terrible since last year, so taking longer than I thought, but hopefully I'll get that soon. At least it works, right? Oh god, I'm zooming in. What am I doing? Ah! But yeah, hopefully that'll arrive sooner rather than later, along with the Grandstream box. So this project is coming along a lot better than I thought it would. I'm glad I sort of looked at that wiring again and realized, wait a minute, that's going the other direction. So I can at least use the phone now. I can use it to call in prescriptions and things like that, and just do daily stuff with it for fun. So I have a prescription to call in this week, so I'll be able to test it that way and use it. It'll be kind of fun. So at least the phone itself works. And yeah, there you have it. I will update you guys when the Grandstream box arrives, because I think I'm going to have a lot to say about that compared with that Obitalk 200 box that I'm using now. So that'll get here soon, hopefully, and we'll be able to talk about it. It has arrived. I now have my VoIP box, this Grandstream, which I bought by the suggestion of the Maritime Girl. And the reason I got this particular one is because it has 2 lines in it, which is pretty cool. I was originally planning to have, one line go to the kitchen and the other line go to my desk as a business line. And, I could just have, a 2-line phone, thanks to this thing, on my desk. This basically duplicates line 1, and this would be line 2. So, the whole idea there kind of fell through, but I can tell you about the Grandstream device and what I think of it. Oh boy, these Grandstream devices I'd say are cheap and cheerful. If you've ever done networking or configured a router on an advanced level, that's basically what this is doing. A lot of this VoIP networking stuff is just that, computer networking. And these Grandstream devices are really good because they have very granular control. There are so many options for each port, and just for the device itself, it's crazy. I've seen the web GUI of the Linksys ones that you can sometimes find cheap, and that's a much simpler GUI than this. This gives you so much more control. You could do a lot with one of these. And I'm just simply using it as a standard analog VoIP line, so I'm not doing a whole heck of a lot with it. But I have enabled things like TLS encryption for, SIP service and things like that, so it can at least do that properly. I went with VoIP MS as a service, as a phone service, and they're really good, actually. They are very good VoIP service. I like them much better than Google Voice. You can do way more. Like, you can make your own IVRs, ring groups, all the standard stuff you get with like a big boy VoIP service, but they've got a lot of stuff. And you can order phone numbers directly in their interface. They're a very nice service. So I've been using this for a few weeks now. This video, as you may know from looking at my Twitter, has taken a while to put together thanks to mishaps and setbacks and the U.S. mail being as slow and crap as it is right now. It's been quite a thing. And device failure too, actually. But the Grandstream has stayed strong throughout all of it. Now, as far as this phone itself, I've actually used it to order prescriptions and things like that, and it's been really good for that, actually. It's been excellent. So, very happy with the VoIP service. It has a lot less of a delay than Google Voice does. It's a much higher quality service. And the good thing about the Grandstream is, let's say I get a rotary dial phone. I could use it with that Grandstream. It supports pulse dialing. So that is pretty fantastic. That's why I really like the granular control of that particular device. You can do basically what you want. And the only thing I really need to do is clean up this phone a little bit. It's got some like stuff in the plastic seam there. But this phone works. I've made quite a few phone calls with it, and with the VoIP service, it honestly feels no different than regular phone service. It's very nice, very high quality. So this project was a success. Now, getting lines elsewhere in my apartment, that's another story. Okay, so these two phones tell a story. So my original idea, as I explained before, was to have a 2-line phone on my desk, basically, so I could access home line and business line. That was the original idea. So it first started with me finding this phone that we used to actually have in my house growing up on eBay, pretty basically new, this 2-line speakerphone, the 742, from about 1993 or so. This is a really good phone. I really liked using it for the little while that I did. It just has one problem. There's no caller ID. And not having caller ID in today's day and age is not very good. So I figured, okay, I'll just use external caller ID boxes. No big deal, right? Well, have a 2-line version of one of those just does not exist anywhere. So you have to use 2 of them. And putting 2 of them on my desk made that a huge mess, just very cluttered. I'll show you an example of what one of those looks like. So this is the caller ID device I'm using in the kitchen here with this particular phone, which is the whole reason this project started. And I like these Bell South visual directors. They're very nice, but they're also kind of bulky and big. And they're 1 line. So imagine having 2 of these next to each other underneath my monitor on my desk. That's just not very good. It's kind of cluttered and awful. So I left it that way for a while, and I just didn't end up liking the setup at all. I thought it was inefficient and cluttered and horrible. So that got me to thinking, what are my options? There's got to be, if I can't get a 2-line caller ID box, maybe I just need to use a different phone entirely. And so comes this. So there were a couple options I could have used for a 2-line analog telephone with caller ID. I could use one of these AT&T phones they sell new. You can get them with or without the answering machine. I could use, the other option I liked were the vintage Panasonic 2-line phones with caller ID you could get. However, they sat more like this, flat on the desk, and they did not have a backlit display, which means you'd have to like move your head around to even see what's on the screen. And that was kind of a no-go for me. So I ended up getting one of these used on eBay, this 2-line AT&T speakerphone. And it functions, it works, but the keypad's busted. You plug this in, and it just types 1s for no reason. So evidently, these are not very good phones. And later on, I found that out. I found out that VTech is who AT&T has make these phones for them. Or really, what happens is AT&T puts their name on an existing VTech product, and they sell it that way. And VTech makes some really bad quality phones, from what I understand. Not very good quality. And I've always liked Panasonic, especially for the cordless phones. But for desktop phones, I thought VTech would be alright, because I don't have to worry about crappy battery life or anything like that. But no, these phones have issues too. And let me show you what this phone does. It's kind of a trip. Alright, we'll demonstrate this in the kitchen here, since I have a free outlet up there. So here's the phone. So you plug it in, right? You see the display light come up and light up? Seems great, right? Looks like a normal functioning phone. But then that starts happening. It's just dialing ones. Like it has a mind of its own. So it just sits there dialing ones constantly. And the phone's in like mint condition. Now I tried opening the phone up, cleaning the contacts really thoroughly with Q-tips. I plugged the phone in while it was disassembled with the rubber that the rubber dome that the sheet thing that the keypad uses off, and only then would it stop dialing ones. So I don't know if the problem's in the clearance with that rubber thing, the buttons themselves, or what it is, but it has something to do with the keypad that I can't seem to fix. So that meant for me that this option was out. We were done. This phone was out, especially after the reviews I've read that basically confirm that these phones, the quality control in these phones is very, very bad. So I got my refund on this, and I decided no more. I didn't even have to return this. So I basically have a useless phone to parade in front of the camera and go, ha ha, it's broken. So there you have it. So with my two-line analog phone options sort of being exhausted, I thought, okay, this isn't going to work. What else can we do? So, like, having that analog phone in the kitchen is important. Having analog phones elsewhere in the house, not so much to me, especially by my desk. So what did I end up doing about this two-line phone dilemma? I decided to say screw analog phones for my desk. I went with this older Yealink phone. These phones are really nice. This is the T42G. It is end of life, out of support, but it still works with my VoIP service, so I'm using it anyway. And this phone has been fantastic. Much higher quality than the AT&T one. The voice quality of the handset and the speakerphone is second to none. So clearly the SIP phone here is a much better option, and it's a better option anyway because on this phone in particular I can put about 12 lines on it. So you're not only do you get more lines, but you get a better quality phone to boot. So for my desk, I decided this was a good idea. So that's my sort of VoIP phone setup. I've got this phone on my desk, which is the nice big boy professional SIP phone. And I have the Grandstream box hooked up to the phone in the kitchen, and as it turns out, I've got an extra line on this I don't need. So that might be a line I use to experiment with analog phone devices, so it'll just be my sort of plaything line. I also have a second one of these coming for my bedroom, so I might also just stick some analog phones in my bedroom for fun, and of course set do not disturb and active hours and stuff on VoIP MS itself, so nobody can call me at 3 a.m. and wake me up. But I think that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to get I have a second one of these on the way that I'm going to stick in the bedroom where I'm using my Google Voice box now. And that will be where I set up some other analog telephone stuff. So I did indeed get the second Grandstream, which is now under the desk in my room, which is generally where I get most of like my work done. I don't actually do that at my other desk. The other desk is where I get a lot of video editing and gaming and stuff done. But since I've been working from home for a long time, I like having a separate setup as an office so that it actually feels like I'm going to work, you know what I mean? So that's where this particular Grandstream box is. And what might be regret in a few months is that I got a two-line AT&T phone here. This is similar to the one that I got that was just dialing ones constantly, except that it does not have the built-in answering machine. And I don't need it. VoIP MS has very good voicemail, so I don't really need it. Hey, it's 420. Yeah. And this phone's brand new. I've left the plastic on it for now. And I gotta say, when these phones work, they're really nice. So there aren't that many options for two-line phones. This is the only one that I really liked. And I was able to get this one locally at a Best Buy, so I didn't have to order it online and pay extra and pay the sales tax and all that stuff. I could just go down to Delaware and get it. Ha ha ha. And yeah, so this is what I'm using where I'm generally working. So I got line 1 for personal line and line 2 for a business line. So that'll work perfectly. I can actually call people and do stuff without giving out my main home phone number to everyone who call me nonstop. So that's perfect. So far, when these phones work, they're nice. I like them a lot. So I decided to go with that in this room. And both lines are connected to just this one phone. But I thought about, I might end up doing that. I might end up putting a splitter on the home line and just run another phone by the bed or something, or just use that as the experiment line just to mess around with old phones or something. I don't know yet, but those are the ideas I've had racking around in my head, and I figured I'd mention them because it's probably not going to be worth making a video of I hooked up an old phone, you guys. So I'm not going to do that. This is something I've done additionally by my desk here. I have the Yealink phone here, but I also have this Panasonic phone with a built-in microcassette answering machine. And this is the analog answering machine that I wanted to put on a public line. It hasn't really gone public yet, but I thought it would be fun for people to call in and leave messages on an automatic microcassette answering machine just to, relive the past a little bit. So that might be a project that I open up later. I need to experiment with this and probably get new tapes, to be honest, and transfer the gold that was on the messages on here. I'll play you a clip I took on my phone of when I was first testing this thing out, of just an absolute treasure of a message that was still on the tape when I got the thing.
Thursday, 4:09 p.m. 1.
No need calling back. I just seen a thing on TV where Nashville Toyota, I don't know what the other name of it is got Toyota Corollas for $11,900, said fully equipped. I don't know nothing other than that. No need to call me back and ask me no questions about it, because I don't know. But I thought $11,900 for a fully equipped Toyota Corolla wasn't a bad deal. But anyway, that's what I seen on TV. Goodbye, don't call back, because I don't know no more.
Yeah, that's almost Boomhauer. I love it, man. That's gold. So, this phone is pretty cool. It's a 2-line phone with the built-in tape answering machine, and it also tells you the time and date.
Sunday, 4:22 p.m.
And there you go. So it'll announce that time on the messages too. It's a pretty cool phone. These Panasonic automatic answering machine phones are neat. So this is kind of what I wanted to do for that public line. And I also have my Google Voice line hooked up to line 2, but I don't have the answering machine hooked up to line 2, so it'll only work with the public line there, so it'll be perfect. So there you go. That's sort of my whole setup. And why don't we just do a quick recap? So the main component of the whole setup is the Yealink phone. That's kind of the central point. So I use this. I have all my lines on it, and I'll use this for calls I make here at this particular desk. The additional phone on this desk, which I just finished going over, is my analog answering machine device, basically, that I'm going to use for possibly a public line. I don't know how safe that is yet. But it's there to experiment with either way. So I've got the public line and my Google Voice line on this Panasonic phone here. And of course the devices feeding that are in this spaghetti mess. There's the Obahai, which is handling the Google Voice line on that Panasonic phone. And this Grandstream is handling the public line on the Panasonic phone. And it's also supplying the home phone number to the Weave phone here in the kitchen, which started this whole project to begin with. So it feeds it to this phone through the existing wiring in my house. I've got a little caller ID box on it, which is nice. I've had a few new calls. There you go, and that's how it works there. There you go, that's the path here. Then in sort of the work area, for like my job, Basically, I have this AT&T phone with 2 lines hooked up to another Grandstream box. So it's a complete setup here in this house. I probably have more phones than I need, and even on this one I kind of want to add another one with a splitter just for fun. So there you go. Like, probably way too much redundancy for a small apartment, but you know what? This phone stuff is fun, and I've got a lot of phones to mess around with, so I might as well find an excuse to use them all right. And there you go. That's sort of the whole setup. This video and this project took at least a couple months to put together completely, just because of not only the time it took to get some of the devices, but also just mishaps here and there and problems and whatnot. I wanted this video to come out 2 months ago, but here we are. I know it's been a while, but I've been doing stuff in the background, and this is one of the projects I've been working on. This VoIP project. If you ever want to get into VoIP, it's pretty fun. I definitely recommend it if you want, at least if you're not into POTS lines, or you don't have POTS lines in your house, it's definitely worth it. So, that's the whole VoIP setup. I might post some videos later once I get the whole public number thing sorted out, if I'm even going to do that. I need to figure out the safety aspect of throwing that number out there, but anyway, I'll figure that out. And in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed the whole VoIP setup. If you'd like to reach me on social media and Discord, those links are down below. Have a good one, everybody. Ciao.